All right, guys, we're live. We are live.
Hey,
How's it
hey,
going, guys?
hey. Uh-oh.
Lenny's got
We're,
his mask on.
we're getting held up by Lenny.
I'm practicing safe distancing even on Skype.
Yep. Well, I
You know
gotta.
what? I've been safely distancing myself for years.
There we go.
People
We
tell
should
you
be
I'm
good here.
emotionally distant, I'm physically. Whatever.
All right. How are you guys doing this week?
Good,
Doing
man. How
well.
are you?
I'm all right. I'm all right.
Another week of quarantine.
Yeah. Yes.
You,
Yes, sir.
thank God we're still working.
Yeah.
Yeah, that, people are going to watch us and be mad because they're like, oh, you guys are working.
Yeah. Well, we're partials, We got to
Yep.
keep the chain going. Got to keep.
Yeah.
How Cookie's playing to that, I don't know, but apparently it does.
Yeah.
There's
But
a, you got to keep things moving. I mean, there's a lot of things that people can do remotely who are doing that, but we're all out. We're back and forth, in and out.
yeah,
Yeah.
Anyway, it's good. Hopefully everybody's
so
safe.
yeah, I mean, it's just I don't know how many times people say, "What day is it today?" Because one day just kind of rolls into the other. If you're not working, at least our routines haven't really changed all that much, so I don't really
Uh,
notice it. But I just notice like on the weekends where it's like you can't go to get a drink, you can't go see a band, you can't go to see a movie, and it's just like holy shit, you
Yeah.
know, it's scarce. It's almost like a giant one big like sci-fi movie that we're living in.
Yep.
oh yeah,
It's
well I
great.
mean, it's like that with the subway for me. Sometimes I go in there and there's I don't know if we talked about this right. There's the post-apocalyptic page going over the thing saying stay safe, New York. Stay quarantined. Don't catch the virus. We're doing all we can to keep you safe. And it's that's the stuff that's the remnants of a sci-fi where the whole race is gone and that's the only thing playing still.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're driving on the road. It's like flatten the curves, stay home. Save lives. And I just never thought that we in our generation would be living through something like this. Even though we always talk about, oh, one day it's not going to be guns and everything. It's going to be germ warfare. And essentially, this is a taste of it, which is like really scary.
It is.
Yeah.
You
It
know,
is.
so
And
we're just trying to.
again, we're trying to do the best we can. The reason why we're doing this, we just want to talk about some of the music and how this is affecting all of that. So Joey wanted to talk, as our team meeting was this week to talk about cover bands versus original bands, and I threw in, what about the tribute bands that are out there, and how are these people, affected, and how it affects, the three of us coming from sort of three different similar perspectives. And and I think the catalyst for this week was the "We Are the World," and I know
Yes.
deep breath, but uh, it's a great thing, for people to have gotten together, cooperated, and do this, and do this, and a lot of people really liked it and needed it.
Yeah, and it was
So
on, like the local news and everything. Got a lot of
Oh
traction. It
yeah,
was
it
nice.
it made the round,
Did it made
and
it was nice
it
for
was
some musicians to be on there. It was great.
yeah,
yeah, so
it was. I was surprised when I saw it because you figured we hear something about it, and I think after I saw it, and I was just like, wow, that was really cool. Through the comments and stuff, you got a sense of, well, how come I wasn't a part of that, or why wasn't I asked, or how come we didn't know about it?
Right.
And that kind of little thing going on. I know we talked about it, and I after a couple of days, I gave it some thought, And I think, I mean, I could be wrong, and this is just my opinion, but I'm going to put it out there as far as what I thought. I thought the two people responsible for putting this together meant no harm or malicious towards anybody. I think they wanted to do something nice. They picked a feel good song and they got their friends involved. And those people, the people who were in, I guess, the video, were, I guess, their friends, or maybe one of the people responsible was a musician, and he told a couple of his friends that he knows, and they all collectively got together and made it work, which had to have been a tremendous undertaking to get all those people involved to go home and do
Absolutely.
the cues and whatnot to pull it off.
Right.
So I thought it was really cool, but you know, some saying, why was this person in it, not me, or because I've been on the scene for just as long as this person or whatever, and to react. But I just think that they didn't think of that, nor was it any intentions. They just wanted to do something because the boss included
Absolutely. I think what you get is, they did a beautiful thing. They did a really nice thing.
rely, and that was oh, it's tremendous,
Yeah.
tremendous.
And then,
I actually liked it.
Tremendous. It was tremendous, and to get logistics of getting everybody together, and a lot of them are our friends. So I mean, I don't want to take
Yes,
away from anything, because I mean, we've
right,
known
absolutely,
a lot of them we've known for a long time, and they're very, very talented. And some people, yeah, there were people
and very
who,
respected.
who yeah, and there were clearly people who they felt slighted that they weren't asked. There were, and
Right.
rightly so. But the whole thing in the time frame was probably fairly difficult. You're working directly with some of these very, very talented people, and got to do it. Now, that being said, it kind of divides the line, and that's a good starting point to talk about, cover bands on the island,
Excellent starting point.
and original bands. People doing original music, and there's you know there's a lot of talent doing original music, and I don't think that was represented in this, because maybe that wasn't what their intent was, but again, I don't think there was any malicious intent. And I know a few of those people that were in there do incredible original music as well. So, but I know
Yes,
a lot of them, are people who make a decent living in the gig economy doing covers, and great for them too. But original music being represented would probably made it a little bit more tasteful for me.
yeah, yeah.
yeah,
Well, we have a lot of
Instead of,
original music here in the island, and some of the bigger ones that were left off, like you're talking about Randy Jackson, huge. George
huge.
Cintron, you know. I would
yeah.
have loved to see Mike Torelli because he has such a great voice. My own singer from Grim Jack, Billy, has
Oh,
just got
Billy, of course.
an amazing voice. I was talking to Billy
Would be great.
with Billy, and he's like, "That's not my type of thing to do anyway." So he wouldn't have done it. But the musicians that did it, I mean, it is a cover song too, so it makes sense for the cover musicians to do it anyway. You know,
Right.
Right. Hmm.
so but it was just it's you see that little bit of divide because these guys that are in cover bands or tribute bands, and these were mostly cover bands. You think that's almost the same thing, cover band and tribute band, but the tribute band thing is just a
Completely
little
different.
bit different too. They do one specific thing. Where the cover bands have a little more leeway as to what they're doing. Um, the tribute bands have to really do one thing, and they have to do it really well. And there's not you're not allowed to deviate on what you're doing.
Right.
Like
When
Tommy and
you're
I
a tribute
are
act,
right
that's
now
true.
both in tribute bands as well. Tommy's in Pump, the Aerosmith band. I'm in November Rain, Guns N' Roses band, and that type of cover band. You can't really change what you're doing. Like you can't say, well, I'm going to do a little bit of my style. Like, well, no, I'm Izzy. That's what I have to do. I have to do what Izzy does. I
Yeah,
can't, there's
that's
not
your
much my own
part.
flavor I'm supposed to be putting in there, other than the
Yeah.
fact that Izzy spent a lot of time on heroin, so I get a little leeway there.
What's the name of
Right.
his other band? Hookers and Blow?
Sometimes
Was that the name of his other band?
and you get away with it with the isn't stuff, and me doing the Joe Perry parts. I have a for the older stuff. At least there's enough live versions of things that were really loose that I can take from. But the newer stuff, from say Permanent Vacation on, it's pretty much note for note cookie cutter stuff. I mean, you have to play those parts because those songs are part songs. It's not Rats in the Cellar. Where
Right.
you just
Exactly.
And the parts.
Yep.
so
Right.
it's
Whereas the cover bands, they do it mostly just the way it's supposed to be done. But they'll do like a part of a song. They'll make a medley. They have that leeway. They don't have to be exact. That's not their job. Their job is out there to entertain people. They have to learn a lot of material, and I've done that too.
Yeah.
I, you know, I needed to make some money. I was the original musician for many years, and then matter of fact, Lenny, the first time you saw me after all those years, where did you see me? You see me playing in a pop band.
Yeah,
Right?
at
Finley's.
At Finley's, yeah.
Yeah. And you
I
come
was
walking
just
in. I
like-
remember you looking at me like, "What the hell is he doing?" As I'm sitting there, and I'm rapping Florida,
Yeah.
and he's like, "Wait a minute, who is this guy?"
Like, wait a minute. Do I?
Yeah.
Is this the same? What happened to him? But then
Oh, you
after that, I just realized, well, he's got to make a living. So whatever it is,
Yeah,
you know,
and it
right.
was
But
it was it
you've
was
always-
good enough. Did 150 nights, in a year, and still had a full time job, but it kept my wife home while she was raising babies. So,
Yeah. Right. Now, that band was who promoted or booked them?
that was Omnipop.
The Omnipop.
Yeah,
And they just keep you going.
yeah, nonstop, man.
Like
It
I
was a
remember
lot of
you-
fun, but it was
you-
very tiring, man.
Well, I remember you couldn't wait to get out of that grind.
It was, yeah, it had just gotten too much, I was never home. My son didn't
a
know who I was.
lot.
He's looking like,
It's a lot of stuff, man.
Yeah.
Your brain is.
yeah, and that wasn't, it wasn't optimal for me. That wasn't really the best thing for me. I really needed to go back to just playing rock.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
then then Tommy goes and leaves Grimjack, and I'm like, I'm not going to ever do an original band again. And then yeah, and guess what? This is all I'm doing now. So
Well, those guys asked me. They said, "You guys know anybody?" I'm like, I'm gonna call Joe.
yeah, exactly,
Right.
exactly.
Yeah. Tom's in the asylum. We gotta get somebody to play.
And then me and Tommy become best friends after this.
That's awesome.
Weirdest thing. And then
Now,
we start this YouTube channel.
Maybe down the road you guys will put a band together.
You never know. You never know.
Conversation we're having about this because for the most part we're just like, this is just it's idiotic. I love the fact that that our friends in cover bands things and they play all day and it's great and people have a great time and I'm doing the tribute thing, you're doing the tribute thing. People go to those things and love them. Our friend Chris Antos has been doing AC/DC and my favorite about Chris Antos in Shoot the Thrill. Is that the name of the band this week?
Yes.
Yeah, AC/DC
Yeah.
band. Yeah, great band.
My favorite thing about I've known Chris since we were in high school, and I kicked him out of the band because he sang way too much like AC/DC. What the hell was I thinking? Like, you sound too much like ACDC. You need somebody else.
Wow.
He's still my friend, and I tell him that story all the time. And he's like, "Yeah, I know. You're such a dick." But so, and again, seeing him do that, it just blows me away because he does it so well.
Yeah.
He does, and
Yeah.
a lot of our friends, a lot of our friends do a lot of this stuff so well, and friends of ours who are original bands do covers really well and appreciate it. So but there's then this on your side, Lenny. You love original music. You do, and
Yes.
you would book it all the time. But it was tough when it was you and three other people drinking. I mean, and
It
that
was very tough. It was, from a business standpoint, it just wasn't working. But we hung in there, and when we moved the club to Smithtown, we continued onward with it, just to try to be a support base for these bands, and
yeah
just try to create a scene. But after a while, we were just so passionate about the music that we kind of knew, well, it's not going to be a huge success financially, but you know what, we're giving these bands a place to play, and maybe somewhere down the road in the long run, we might benefit from it. But I mean, because we've had some, I mean, there's so many bands, original bands, that just really don't get the prime time that they deserve. And coming from a bar's perspective,
say the
the
names. I
business
mean,
part
just
of it,
some of these guys. Just
well,
say it.
there's so, there's like Revel 9, there's Craving Strange, there's
Yeah.
Great.
Grimjack was another one. I mean, uh, there was a band Midnight Mob, and there was uh, oh geez.
By the way, we got Ed Shins on watching us. I wanted to do a little quick shout out to him. He's out watching us. Great supporter of the Long Island
All
music
right,
scene.
Ed Shin.
Great supporter.
And happening.
And a
No
good
food.
photographer too. But yeah, he's
Yes,
just he's reaching out to us. So
I ran
but
into
at
Ed
the
one day in the street.
same time, we also would, financially knew, booking the tribute bands and the cover
yeah,
bands, it was a different dynamic. Um, you know, different crowd, different, you know, set of circumstances, and they brought it most of the time.
right.
So we
Right.
tried, and in the future we're going to continue to try to do everything, you know, and
It's,
you just try to be a
it's
support base, but not just for the original band, but not for everybody. I like to see what's going to happen now, when we get through this, and we will get through this, but how the landscape is going to be changed forever.
Yeah.
I mean, going to these clubs to see these bands, are they still going to be able to pack the place? Are people going to trust the places enough to get close to people and pack like a big venue?
Right.
That's the reality that I'm concerned
Yeah.
about.
Well, Tommy and I had discussed this a couple of minutes. Lenny came on just as we were starting, um, so we kind of talked
That
about
was
this.
I
So
apologize.
the the landscape is different for original bands and tribute bands and cover bands. The tribute bands, you can usually only play like twice a year in most venues, right? We have on Long Island, um, the home of the cover band. You got the tribute bands can play. There's limited places they can play. We can play, but it's usually twice a year. Like one of the bigger venues is 89 North, right? Twice a year. If they are big like Appetite, they can do the Paramount, but that's once a year, right? You got the Warehouse twice a year. That's owned by Kevin Sheehan, who has Ferrell's.
KJ's, I
KJ's,
believe.
right?
Yeah.
Nice guy too. Good guy to work with. Um, but they don't really do the. I guess
Well,
they Let It Bleed plays over it there. I think so. They do some of the tribute bands, but not a lot. But
Yeah.
tribute bands
But
get a
he's
couple
big,
times.
he's big
Whereas
on
if you're
original
in
music.
in one of those cover bands, it's every 6 weeks. 4 to 6 weeks can play at a place. So that's a
Yeah.
little bit different for them. Now, after this pandemic, like how fast are people going back in the clubs? And it's not going to really be that fast. But here's the thing where the original bands can make I don't know. I don't want to say make up some ground here, but original bands on this time off will be doing a lot of writing, continue, at least get set to do more recording if they can't do if they're not doing recording in their own studios. I know as Grimjack, we're doing a little something special that we haven't told anybody yet. Besides our album, we're working on something else to release hopefully the next 2 weeks. But it's going to be, a different release. But it gives us something to do. Whereas, like cover bands, I mean, I'm sure some of them are getting together and they're doing the live thing, but they're used to making the income. Whereas, the original bands, we're used to not making shit.
Right.
We make our money.
Right.
The original bands make their money not at the gigs,
On the merch.
but they make it from merchandise and from album sales. Or
Yeah.
single, however,
Or
whatever little bit of money we make, that's how we make it. So a completely different type of thing. So this is that chance for the original bands to maybe shine a little bit more. They get that chance because now they can woodshed. This is their woodshed time.
Exactly. Like I know a good friend of mine. I don't know. You've met Chris Lane from Station.
Yes. Yeah.
I was texting with him the other night. He was just checking to see how he's doing and stuff. And they just released their third album, not before all this started. And now through the downtime, they're almost done with their fourth album, and they're working on a fifth.
Yeah.
So these guys, they're just like, well, okay, we're not going to go play live. We're going to go record more music.
Yeah.
And that's kind of what we would be doing. Like, all right, if we were an original band.
Right.
But now some of the other bands rely on live shows and performing hits of like tributes or covers, and they don't have that luxury. I mean, maybe they can just learn new songs to eventually play out live, or they're just going to have to, I guess, stream like everyone else seems to be doing now.
Right.
And it's I feel bad for all the musicians that this is no one expected this, and now we're in the middle of it.
Yeah.
And everyone's just trying to survive.
It's especially tough for those guys, and we've talked about this a couple of shows, and usually ends up getting cut out because we've had audio issues. Is the fact that what about those guys like our friend Jason Liebman, right? That's how he makes his living, and he's
he did a Zoom show Friday, I think, for a corp gig. Not for Zoom, but using Zoom, and that. And I haven't spoken to him yet about it, but he seemed to. He posted some good stuff about it, saying that it worked, it went well. He posted a couple of stills from it, and I think the people are pretty happy. The challenge is, how is his ISP, right? How is his flow? Is he able to get some decent streaming going to these things?
right.
Or he's lucky. His house, it's him, his wife, and his 3-year-old daughter, and so there's not really a lot of bandwidth being taken up there. Here, on the other hand, got 2 10-year-olds that have not phones, but they have iPods with Wi-Fi where they can talk to their friends and they can game. And then there's the Xbox on, and the other one's got Wii on, and then he's playing he's doing the Xbox and the Switch, so he's got 2 things going on. For one thing loading, he's doing the other one. Lorene is on stuff, doing her work, and that's another thing. Lorene is a music therapist, but she also does music together, which is like Mommy and Me music thing, right? So it's her in a group, and so that model was changed too, because it's normally her and 6-7 families, right? So mother and child, a mother and 2 child, a father and 2 children, whatever, and that's all based in a room, where people can. It's the same idea. It's another gig, and the gig has been going really well for the past couple of years, right? So that's another gig that's gone. The cocktail hour guy playing guitar, that's gone. The 2 hours some of these guys were working on, Thursday or Friday or Thursday and Friday, a couple of hours at happy hour,
Yeah.
and they were making $300 going home
Yeah.
at night.
Yeah, I did that when in my heyday when I was trying to make all that money. I was doing Thursdays, Tuesdays, and Thursday nights at local pubs too.
Right. Just
That's
being
gone.
like ambient,
Yeah. Yeah. So Ed had a couple of questions. So he says, like what, how many of these venues are going to open when everything opens up, and how many are still going to be around at this point? Like there are some that sell food, yeah, and they'll make it through. And I guess some are, if they own the building, they're okay because the rent situation or whatever.
They own the
But
building.
like
Beach huts.
like
Beach huts open because they're owned by the county,
yeah
right? So those will open whenever they say to open. They will open because they're contractually, right?
yeah
But are you going to get the people there? Tough. Ed just posted the vineyard. It's a great
I
idea.
think they're
The vineyards are big and open.
yeah. I still think people are going to go out, man. I mean, you're looking at the people aren't being all that cautious now, and it's only been what, how many weeks? 6 weeks? 5 weeks?
Oh, yeah. Oh, I still see people out there, no mask, no gloves, like fuck it, I don't care,
Yeah,
because they're so
exactly.
going cabin crazy. And I get that, but it's kind of like I wear my mask and
Yeah, Ed
or a
says the
bandana,
vineyards, right?
gloves.
The vineyards will be open, right?
Yeah, the
Yeah.
vineyards
They'll get the you'll look at it. They'll get the
I'm curious.
acoustic things, but like how are they going to do this? I mean, are they going to spread out, have less tables now?
That's what they're
6
going
feet
to have.
apart.
They're going to have
6 feet apart.
Right.
When the restaurants open up, the rumor is when the restaurants reopen, 6 feet apart and half capacity as opposed
Yeah.
to full. When the schools open up, they're talking about desks being 6 feet apart. So it's gonna just
Gonna fuck with
it's
everything.
just gonna be nuts on getting
So
started.
much
But
for
it's gonna
having.
be
You're not getting
the
that
new
mosh
norm.
pit anymore.
No, I'm not getting
Yeah,
the pit.
that's done.
Yeah.
And I'm curious to see when the beach places open up. Yeah, it's outdoors and it's a lot of space, but usually everybody's crowded around the bar. So
Yeah.
how are
Yep.
they gonna
Not
how are
going to
they
do that.
gonna do that?
Yep.
Do it. Can't do the bars anymore. They're gonna definitely gonna you're gonna get moved to you're gonna get moved around,
Yeah.
and you're gonna
Yeah.
be at you're gonna open up at 30 to 50% capacity for even restaurants, and
Yeah.
because of the table spacing, and no
Yeah.
bar. It's gonna be interesting, but playing original music, no one ever came anyway. So all they have to do is just have an original band, and
Yeah. They don't have to worry about it. And the original band's not asking for a lot of money. They're asking like,
They just
give us
want
some
they just
gas
want
money,
to
man.
play.
Yeah.
I
Give
have
us
to
some
say,
gas. Give me a merch
another
table
thing
and
about
I'm good.
Drink ticket.
Right.
I need two drink tickets.
Yeah. Yeah. And then you're hoping like, oh,
Well,
I hope
that's the
one of the
other
guys
thing.
in the band's not drinking, so I can take his 2 drink tickets.
Yeah. But you see, that's the other thing about original bands compared to the others. They're not really so interested in the money. They just want to be heard. They want to sell some merch. They want to get the name and the music out there.
Yeah.
Whereas the other bands rely on the money, which is that's what they're there to do.
Absolutely. Ed's saying the same thing. He thinks everybody's going out. It's not going to hold people
Like-
back, It'll just depend on how, strict they're going to be enforcing, some distancing space. Hey, Lenny,
Yeah.
move to
Well,
the
they're gonna
right a
have
little bit on your screen.
Keep that up.
Yeah, there
There
you
you
go.
go.
Much better. Much better.
Oh,
Now
okay,
you centered. Good. Yeah.
okay. So, I think they're going to have to keep that up, the distancing thing, once they decide to reopen, because I think Ed is right. People are going to want to go out because they're tired of being home. They want to go out. They want to, but are they going to rush into things? And are they going to have to? How are they going to react to the new norm?
Right.
6 feet apart. You can't do this. You can't do that. It's a lot of relearning
Absolutely.
when this happens. Once, like a major reboot for all of us on how to go about socializing again.
Yeah,
It's going to be
absolutely.
crazy, but that's probably what's going to happen once we get to that phase.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, we will see.
Yeah. Anyway, how long have we been on now? Look at us. We're actually going pretty good. Only about a half hour. That's not bad.
Yeah. So how do we wrap?
Okay.
So we want
How do
to,
we put a bow on this thing?
yeah. Well, how about we talk about Tom? We want to talk about your pedal board real quick.
All right. So
Yes, we gotta do some
I've
here.
been
Yeah,
I've been
I'm gonna put it up on the screen.
okay, and I'll say where I'm at with this because it's I cut everything down and then built it back up, so everything's laid out when she shows the picture. And then there's a couple of pieces and parts I need to make it work, but I haven't picked it up yet. I'm not sure how heavy it is. I originally wanted to do use the DL4 on here, and I spent the past week just driving pedals through the amps and seeing what was going to work and seeing what was going to work best because I had the time. I had well, not a lot, but because I am working. But so I spent quite a bit of time doing that and got the decided that the carbon copy was still probably the best delay for what I'm doing. And then I threw the Wampler Ethereal, which is kind of it's a digital delay with reverb. So I have that on there too. Oh, there it is. So if you take a look at it, it's it's the uh, the Bonamassa wah, which I keep, and then the Octafuzz. Uh, then for drives, it's the TS9 and the OCD, and then the Rev 4 for drive. And then switching up between the Phase 90 and a couple of choruses, but the Octopus seems to work really well for like this univibe, almost ham and organ sort of thing. So I did that. Nothing's been wired yet. I got it all. I did it all on the floor originally, and now I'm gonna wire everything through the board. But it should be good. So once that is done, then we can do some testing with it and see how we like it. Once I get the camera thing a little bit better in here, so it's not quite so stationary. Um, we'll figure out where that's all at. But this is my board for doing the covers with the Aerosmith, right? So the tribute for that. And other stuff. And other stuff. I mean, this will be versatile. I do have a smaller board that I'm going to put together, just for just space. As far as that goes, I know that I can do a couple of mods. So the board I use with the Reinhardt and use that for other stuff too. The only thing is with the Reinhardt's got like an AB at the end of it, but I think I can kind of wire around that so it doesn't drag the tone down if I go straight. Anyway, so that's what I'm at. Well, Joe, what have you been up to as far? I mean, I know you did great acoustic video for the impulse
Yeah,
response.
that was a cool show. Yeah, that was a
Yeah,
cool
thanks.
show.
Yeah,
Great.
it was
It was great.
that's fun. It's fun to actually know what you're talking about a little bit. And I'm trying not to make the videos long because we know what happens is you can't make a video very long anymore. So I kind of go through it really quick. I'm thinking to do some a little more in depth later, but we're trying to get some content up there, and we're trying not to bore anybody. And like I can show you guys, and you loved it, and I show somebody else, and they're like, "It's really cool, but you use words that I don't know what you're talking about, man." And it really, I mean, I get it, man. You know.
But you absolutely use your like classical radio FM voice, which is great.
Yeah, that deep like hey. Yeah, that deep like hey. 92%, 92%.
Well, I can sell that. I can sell a motility swim count thing. So if you guys don't know that I do voiceover work, yeah, I've done a little bit of that too. So we're gonna have to review that one day. That'll be funny.
Board's done.
So, the other thing, Ed's still on here on our top chatting away with which I love. It's so nice to have somebody on here actually interacting with us this time. We're gonna have to bring him on camera one day. because he's
We will.
got a lot
Oh,
of
that's a
money.
show in
will.
itself. That's a show
So
in
he
itself.
says, you know, he's got a heart condition, so he's not going to be going to any of the indoor venues at all for a while.
And I'm missing an artery.
I'm missing
an artery.
Right.
But I'm still going to go. Fuck it.
Right. So I guess outdoor gigs, you know, and we'll put a mask up around you, you know, like a bubble boy, you know.
Well, you see now what's going to happen to the people going to the people going to clubs that established these bands playing. For me, you know, and this isn't really meant to be a joke, but I'm going to want to smell chemicals. That place was just chemicaled out, swab duped, whatever you want to call it, before I walk in there.
I didn't want to smell clean. I didn't want to smell clean.
You know, I want to know that.
Clean.
You know, I want to know that. And it's. I think the people in the sanitization area are going to make a fortune. They're going to clean up, no pun intended. They're going to clean up, no pun intended, with this because everything's got to be wiped down. Everything's got to be wiped down. The subway constantly wiped down, constantly sanitized, cleaned and sanitized. You know, that's. You know, but I think people will ease back into it slowly. You know, but first, you know, we really need to come up with a vaccine. We really need to come up with a vaccine before any of this. You know, before we can think of any of that, which is messed up. Which is concert series. Concert series are postponed to the fall of next year. That's nuts. But that's the reality.
Right.
It could well be the reality. Well, let's you know, again, like you said, this is a good opportunity for us to woodshed a bit, do some writing,
Sure.
with some original music. I think Joey and I, you and I, need to talk about having a couple of those people on too, just to
absolutely
do that.
Absolutely.
And
I know we were going to talk. I think Jimmy from Craving was definitely interested in coming on. He's good. I watched his thing last night. It was fantastic. You know.
Yeah, he's always great.
There's a guy I want to say fuck
he's
you.
Always good.
Fuck that guy. God damn it.
Yeah.
Just fuck you, man.
Fuck you.
Don't be good at this. We're not.
Yeah. Yeah. So Tommy, all right.
Yeah, he's got a lot of insight.
Who are we saying, Tommy? Who are we saying fuck you to this week?
Oh, let me. Geez, I'm trying to think of what I've listened to this week. Warren Haynes. Fuck him.
Oh.
I was just like, so you know, because I'm listening, you know, to Slide and everything, and all of a sudden he just comes on, he's singing and he's playing Slide and he's singing and he's going back and forth and just crushing it with his tone.
Yeah.
You know, switch between, you know, the strat and then heavy fuzz and octave and everything, and just crushing it and then singing.
Yep.
Talk Warren Haynes.
Absolutely.
I got two big FUs to two different people.
Who do you got?
One is Joe Satriani.
Yeah, fuck that.
Yeah.
I just listened to the new album he came out, Shapeshifter.
Okay. Good, huh? I haven't listened to it yet.
I haven't listened to it either.
He's just too good that it sucks.
Yeah. Who else you got?
Jeff Beck.
Oh, yeah.
He just released a song Isolation with Johnny Depp.
Johnny Depp, yeah. I haven't heard that. It's all over, and that's what I'm actually planning on listening to after when we're off today. It's fantastic, right?
Yeah. Flawless.
Wow.
Yeah. I'm just kind of like, oh shit, that's just some crazy stuff.
Yeah.
And
Yeah. Fuck Johnny Depp too.
Yep. Yeah, you got to be an actor and you got to be able to play, right? Fuck you.
He's, you know, I still look at him.
Yeah. So my real fuck you, I'm gonna save Jimmy G until we have him on the show.
Yeah.
You know? Like the other people, we're never gonna have on the show. Hopefully someday. My fuck you this week is for Red Shull. That guy's popping out videos left and right. If you don't know who he is, check him out on YouTube.
Quality.
He plays with a couple of artists. One is really good, is Noah Guthrie, and Noah Guthrie's band did Whippin' Post, like in one of the, almost like a Skype type thing, but they actually did the recording. But wow, that guy's voice is fucking ridiculous. But Red Shull, man, just like a really great, good guitar, and not, you know, he's not a shred guy. You know, he can play really well.
He's tasty, tone.
Yeah, yeah, good guy all around. So, fuck you, Brett.
Yeah, fuck Brett.
And having and
The
yeah,
big
and
fuck
all your
you.
YouTube shit, man. Fuck you.
And it's
Good
Rich
job.
Beato.
Oh, Beato. Yeah, Beato. I'll put up this video. Oh, it gets pulled. Let me tweet Jimmy Page and Robert Plant. Oh, now it's back up and it's number 45 trending on YouTube.
Yeah.
Oh my god. Well, fuck Rick
So
Beato. And how's a guy that old? Well, he's my age, but how's he still have all that fucking great hair?
and his superpower, he did it in like 3 days.
Oh yeah. What the fuck is that, man? Shit.
All of a sudden, he's like, freaking Dan Haggerty.
Yeah.
Google that,
Crazy.
kids.
Dan Haggerty.
All right, guys. So let's say goodbye. Well, before we lose everybody. Not that we have anybody watching, but